This is A Who All Gonna Be Their podcast, a place where you get to be an exclusive member of our very entertaining group chat.
Hey y'all, welcome to A Who All Gonna Be Their podcast. I am back for another quick recap of today's 6-hour daily. 6 hours. Bruh, we have lives. And when I tell you, it's so much easier, like when we have like unlimited feeds, because we just, pop in from time to time throughout the day when we have the opportunity. If we miss something, we'll hop on Twitter or whatever and catch up. And then we're caught right back up. But to like sit down and have to dedicate 6 hours is so much. But I will say today's daily was good. And once again, I say, Big Brother, why you don't give us dailies over the weekend? You should like do that, because we would have had a cool, easy selling day. And I get it. They don't want anybody to know the results because they don't think people are going to watch the show. We're still going to watch it anyways, especially if it's entertaining. Like, come on. So anyways, jumping right into it. Anthony and Spicy and Avi are chatting in the little orange room, whatever room that is. And they're saying that they think that they might eventually lose Lexus to Matt because the girls think she is falling in love with Matt. Falling in love is like a crazy thing to say, but whatever. Thinks that they're falling in love and thinks that eventually they're gonna have to break them up. Spicy's doing what Spicy does. She's putting that wedge in there. I don't know what it is. She always has to put some kind of I guess, I don't know what I want to say. Some kind of something in people's head when it comes to these women. I think she has to be like, okay, who's next on the list? Who's next on the list? Which is fine, but give it a little breathing room. Let's get the, nomination set first, Spicy, and then let's, do another target. Anthony tells Spicy and Avery that he doesn't think that Matt is actually feeling Lexus as much as he says. Of course, we don't have feeds, so I don't know. Hey, of course. We don't know exactly what Matt and Lexus's relationship is, specifically because we don't have feeds. We don't really know. We don't know if it feels genuine, if it's not. We only know about these, little small clips from back and forth. But Anthony doesn't think he's feeling him like that, specifically because Lexus has asked him, hey, come hang out in the bed with me, come kiss me, come do all this. And apparently Matt is saying no. But we did get a little peek of a conversation like that a couple dailies ago. And Matt, they had the conversation of, families are watching, so he doesn't want to do anything too risque because of his family. So who knows? Then Spicy and Dennis are chatting in the Infinity. Dennis is feeling kind of iffy about Avery. And note that I said that because we're going to swing back around to that. Mainly, he says because he thinks she got the safety, which, rewind. Vivic is HOH. We're going to talk about that in our recap on Thursday. They did a cool BuzzFeed, Buzzkill, if y'all remember that comp, which I really liked. This was really cool and would have been great to watch on feeds, but whatever. Because I think it went over 4 hours. And basically they had spotlights, and you could be sitting at your little spotlight for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. It's various times. And they did have a little indicator below. So, they're not cheating. BBUS would never. But I thought this was a really cool comp. And throughout the comp, they had different things to, different temptations to persuade you. And one of those temptations was a secret advantage, which Avery ended up winning, and she got safety. We'll go into that detail with that on Thursday. So y'all catch us for that recap. But anyways, so he thinks because Avery is safe, that's the main reason why she hasn't really been in these conversations. Because what am I in these conversations for? I'm safe. So he's feeling kind of iffy about her. Dennis does hint to Spicy that there is a boys' alliance. He doesn't say specifically who's all in that alliance, but Vivic did tell Dennis Friday that he doesn't call it an alliance. He calls it an understanding or agreement. Or no, he says they have each other's backs. That's an alliance, bro. But that's with Matt and Dougie. Let's see what comes out. Talk targets and next week. Oh, they talk about targets. That conversation's over. Now we're into that was the most important thing that came out of that conversation. Then we go into the HOH room and Vivic and Spicy are chatting. Once again, Spicy is in these conversations in and out, regardless. She's always having some kind of gay conversation, which, whatever. Spicy and Vivic talk about targets, saying who they think should be a target next week. And Spicy, once again, she's putting it in the ear about Lexus. And saying that Lexus and Matt are getting very close. And Vivic was saying, like, you didn't hear from me, but you're not the first person to say that. If I had to guess, it was probably Anthony, most likely. Anthony or maybe Avery, but I don't think Vivic and Avery have as many game conversations. I know they've had a few here and there, but solo, dolo, we haven't seen that yet. So I'm sure that's already like brewing for later. And then it switches over and we are now, I hate how choppy this is. But it switches over and now Spicy and Avery and Kayla are in the bathroom. Spicy is her target is Lexus. Lexus is coming up. She's showing Matt too much attention. She was saying like, of course, like they really to some extent they pushed her onto Matt, like, hey, you should go talk to Matt, he likes you, he's cute, we can use that to our advantage. But now she actually likes him, like we're like him. But she's basically saying to Avery and Kayla, like, Kayla was upset about something and Matt was hugging her. And Spicy tells Kayla that Lexus was giving her like a dirty look. I was like, girl, come on. Lexus, she has a resting face, and I think that's what it is. Because to me, Lexus be chilling. I really think that Lexus just be minding her own business, but we know what Spicy's gonna do. Okay. So then another choppy session. We see Kayla wins POV. Yay to Kayla. She wins POV, and then now the conversation comes like what she's gonna do with it. She automatically says like she's thinking about using it because she wants to smooth over that relationship with Byyyeee because they sent Donna home last week and they kept her in the dark about it. So she thinks this will be a good way to smooth things over with her. Matt then asks Dougie, what is the plan for next week? They're celebrating. They're like, yay, they're excited that Kayla won. And Matt asks Dougie what the plan is for next week. Once again, Lexus seems like she's the one that's gonna be in trouble. But he's having this conversation with Matt. He's like, I don't know, we're gonna have to just find a pair and we're gonna have to break it up. We just need to see who's working together and then go from there. Little does Matt know that's a possibility that is him and Lexus. Let me see. Dougie says that Kayla and Vivic have had a meeting and chatting about working together and going forth. Dougie says Spicy and Kayla. Oh, okay. That's what it is. So Dougie, Spicy, and Kayla and Vivic are having a meeting, and they're basically this is like the I'm gonna use the veto conversation. Let's get some conversations going. Let's talk. It's all like patting each other on the back. Oh, good job, Kayla. Oh, it's your HOH. I'm gonna respect your HOH. Da, 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 da. It's nothing dramatic happens in this conversation. Vivic then has a conversation with Dennis, and Vivic tells Dennis, you need to go for HOH. In so many words, he doesn't come out and say it exactly. Vivic doesn't say it exactly to Dennis, but he says, hey, Anthony's coming for you. There's a big possibility. He doesn't necessarily say Anthony's name, but Dennis is smart and he knows who he's working with, and he knows that Dougie is pulling the strings. Let me see. Dennis said that he's in a person. Oh, Dennis said that he knows that it's Anthony that is coming for him. He later on in the conversation actually uses his name. He says, I know that it's Anthony coming for me because there is only one person in the house who I mentioned his name to. And now that it's coming back to me, then I know. And like I said, to put a pin in that from earlier about Avery, it was Avery. So when he was in the Infinity having a conversation with Spicy, he was like, I'm not really trusting Avery. Hey Ty. So he was just like, I don't know. So, and then that confirmation right there, regardless of what's happened, he definitely doesn't trust Avery right now. Let me see. So then so here it comes again, my favorite word in the Big Brother dailies. It's choppy again because where are we in this conversation? Dennis is chatting with Vivic and he's saying how Vivic is asking Dennis how the chat went with Kayla, because he did say he was gonna have conversations about the veto or game talk or whatever they're gonna have a conversation about, right? Dennis is basically like, I don't know. And he's like, oh, so you haven't had a conversation with Kayla? He's like, are you guys gonna chat at all? Maybe. And then after a while, you can kind of get like Dennis is just like, shut off, right? Dennis is basically saying, look, I hate to do this to you, but remember, it's no longer Vivic and Dennis as friends, right? It's a Vivic HOH, and I'm just Dennis, the game player. So, do I think Vivic said that actually to him? I don't know. We'll see it in the episode if he do. But I think it was more so Vivic was expressing what he was going to do. And Dennis was more so like, hey, what about da, da, da? He basically was like, I'm HOH. I'm going to do what I want to do. You're just, Dennis today. Like, you win and you do what you want to do. That's what I'm guessing the conversation happened. I don't think he said those words verbatim, but the way Dennis made it sound like Dennis definitely feels some type of way. Like the energy is heavy in there. Which I wish we would have feeds for. Let me see. There's a way between them. So you can sense the tension between them. It's and Vivic is just like, he was just like, okay, like you can tell, like he wasn't expecting that to happen at all. And Vivic is like, I hope like this like rift between us is only temporary. And then Dennis is like, of course, this is only for this week. Okay. Okay. I'm shooting Vivic a little bell right here. Okay. Y'all know I jump ahead. Fast forward. We know Dennis is the replacement nom, right? But I give, it was a dumb move, and I still stick by it was a dumb move. But in this conversation, he does tell him like, hey, this rift between us is only temporary. Like this is just this week. We're on opposite sides of the house. We'll work through it next week. Then Dennis, the little line right here, he says, well, if I win HOH next week, I'm not sure what's gonna happen, but that's next week. I was like, Dennis. Now, if I'm Dennis, if I'm Vivic, I would have considered putting you up. Would I have actually put him up? Probably not, because I'm not that dumb. But that would have been in the back of my mind. Like, if there's a situation where I need to have your back player, I'll probably not, because you're having this conversation and you're thinking about putting me up. So I give him a little bit of bail on that. Still a dumb move in my opinion, but we're all gonna have our opinions about it. So then the conversation comes with Spicy, Avery, no, Spicy, Kayla, and Dougie. And they're sitting there having a conversation like, okay, how are we gonna get Vivic to put up Dennis? Which at this point, they really could have just made him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And he would have been like, ooh, because it was pretty easy. It took about like a minute and a half of convincing. But they're like stressing. They're like, oh no, how are we gonna have this conversation? What are we gonna do? Kayla was like, okay, y'all gonna have to come in here. Like, I'll go in there, have this conversation with them. Shout out to Dougie. Baby, Dougie is playing the game. Okay. Say what you want about him, but Dougie, right now, it's the Dougie show. You can call it whatever you want to, but it's the Dougie show. And it's like special guest starring Spicy B at this point. And then the rest of the cast are pretty much just extras. But he's like, look, he's gonna go in there, he's gonna want to pick your brain. Basically, what Anthony said to 1, 2, 3, 4 is exactly how it went. He's gonna want to pick your brain. He's gonna want to outweigh his options. And then Kate's like, okay, so maybe I don't say that. You know, she was kind of like nervous about pushing it, and she was like, look, this is what you need to go in there and do. Just say like the same way you promised Todd that you wouldn't put him up this week or you would have his back. You need to say, I did the same thing with Byyyeee. I told Byyyeee that I would have her back and that I want to rebuild trust because I know she didn't trust me last week because the Donna situation, because she was worried about using the veto on Byyyeee and that upsetting Vivic. So goes in, conversation happens. That's exactly how it happens. And then eventually, which they had already set that plan into motion, you know, it was already a set plan, like, okay, Spicy's gonna come in, and then eventually Dougie's gonna come in. So they do that, they have the conversation, they talk. Now Vivic does tell Kayla, this is before, does tell Kayla, like, he understands like if she needs to use the veto, but in his best interest, he would want Kayla to keep the noms the same. But she was just like, nah, I'm using it. So they go in there and baby, Anthony does what Anthony does. Like, I have to give him props. He goes in there. He's like, look, Dennis does not have your back. Your goal this week was to get Byyyeee out, and he has been campaigning to keep Byyyeee. That is not your boy. That is not your man's. That is not who you should be working with. And you need to look at it like this. And then Vivic's like, well, he took me out of block last week. And Anthony's like a king, an icon, a legend. Yes, he was. Let me put that up there. When I tell you, he Anthony has this way where he can just. Anthony could. I've said this, I think last week. Anthony could sell me a snow cone in Alaska with the bathing suit on. Like, that's how much he can sell himself. He was just like, hey, listen, we are your people. And this is Kayla and Spicy. They just sitting there chilling. He's like, we are your people. He's like, you could have put my ass up on the block last week and you didn't. You are strong. You're a king. Remember, he called him a coward to 18 different people in the house last week. One even 18 people in the house. And he was calling him a coward up and down and right. And Vivi just all the way forgot about that. But he was like, you are strong. You put Dennis up. This is going to be a big move. And you just need to know we're going to have your back. He's like, we just solidified something crazy. He's like, this is going to be one of the best alliances out this season. He's like, this is not even an alliance. We are brothers. And baby, one thing about Anthony, he uses that term brother. And when I tell you, especially to the men house, that means, especially coming off the Pretty Boys, like, I know Vivic is like this. He was just like, oh, hook, line, sinker. Like, is that the saying? I think it is. But he was just saying, look, Dennis is not going to do anything for you, which is crazy because you did use the video for him. But he said, I am locked in with you. And then the words, like, I know they're going to highlight this on the show. After he did all this praise and we're working together, we're going to be great, we're going to be awesome. He looks him dead in the face. He said, this is a alliance. This is what an alliance looks like. And then Vivi was just like, yep. You know what? He's like, you know what? That's it. You know, this is definitely, this is the moment where he's like, okay, Dennis is going on the block. He's like, okay, you guys are my 4. So Vivic thinks he has a final 4 with Anthony, Kayla, and Spicy. He's like, you guys are my people. And I promise you, I'm not doing this again. Like, I cannot do this again. I would never put y'all on the block. I'll go home before either one of you guys do. You guys are my people. And, a lot of praise, whatever. Then there's a short little conversation where Bailey comes into the HRH room and Vivic is like, hey, pretty sure you're gonna have a good day tomorrow. We can talk tomorrow, but and then, obviously the veto's gonna be used on you. So she's like, thanks, thanks, thanks. Well, let me say, I wouldn't call it a final four. Vivic thinks it's a final four. And Kayla, Anthony, and Spicy is making them think it's a final four. Now, we all know in Big Brother, you could make these alliances and they could end up possibly actually being true. Do I think this is being true? No. They're going to dispose of Vivic as soon as they have to. Do I think they're going to get rid of him next week? No, I don't, because he's a number now and he is hooked. He is hooked. If he ain't got nobody else, Anthony has him in his back pocket. You might as well call Vivic Levi because he is a pocket on the back of Anthony's jeans at this point. But yes, he is hooked. But he tells Bailey basically, Vito's gonna be used on you. We'll have this conversation tomorrow. She's excited. Yay. Sleep easy, sleep well. Then, oh Lord, the Daily comes back. We're about to wrap it up, y'all. The Daily comes in and Dennis is on a block. He's just like, everybody's going around and people are hugging them. They're coming in. He's just like, you can tell he was just absolutely shocked. He did not think his boy would put him up on a block. Dennis comes in. They go into the pool room, and first Vivic's like, hey, can we have a conversation? They go into the pool room, and he tells him, he says, listen, the whole house wanted you up. Okay, like this is not just me. And he was just like, how was the whole house wanting me up? I had their whole back, their whole conversation. So you mean to tell me like the whole house is lying to me? Da 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 da. Vivic's like, I'm sorry, I had to do this for a game. He's like, for whose game? He's like, do you understand? You're next. You're next. You're next. So he's banging on the pool. Like Dennis is pissed. He is upset. He's like, how do you think you're gonna win when I'm not around? Oh, he's like, you know you are next up. And then of course he's like, everybody wants you out, everybody wants you out. And then Dougie comes in when he says that. Dennis is like, so everybody wanted me up. And Anthony comes, he's like, no, everybody, don't say everybody, don't say everybody. And then Dennis like, I'm not about to do this with you right now. You can go. I'm not having this conversation with you. And he's like, I understand that, but you need to know. And then Anthony comes in and bangs the pool table. Not everybody said that. Everybody said that. Pretty much everybody at this point. So Dennis is upset. He's mad. Dennis tells Vivic, you're next. Vivic's like, I'm not next. Like, this conversation is so funny. I am going to there are a couple of accounts that reposted this argument. So if you guys don't have access to the digital dailies, if you follow us at A Who Are There on Twitter, I am going to repost this right after I end this live. Because you got to watch that conversation. Like it's funny. It's like crazy. It's intense. And it's like Vivic's trying to be like so calm. But Dennis says, I'm burning this house down. At this point, I don't know how much he can burn the house down. The only way he could really burn the house down now is saying like Anthony and Dennis is working with everybody, but everybody knows that and they're all puppets at this point. So he can't really burn much down. And Dennis says, I regret nothing in my life, but I need you to know that I regret taking you down with the veto. I was like, oh my God. Dennis said, do you realize like nobody in this house would have took you down? Nobody in this house is going to take you down in the future. So he's pissed. They're going back and forth. I can't wait to see the somewhat full, because we know it's going to be somewhat edited anyways, but I cannot wait to see the full argument of this. But shout out to Dennis. Dennis is saying it with his chest, so I'm not mad at him. He's like, you do realize like my game is over. I waited 10 years to come on this show. I didn't even make it to jury. So yeah, Dennis is feeling some type of way. And I automatically feel for him as a super fan, because I would be gutted to go out this early, especially somebody like Dennis. Like you can tell, like he knew most of what was going on in the house, the workings in the house. He just didn't unfortunately get the right alliances together. But then it cuts to everybody's outside. They're cheering, they're yelling, they're like, "Whoa, yeah!" I think they're hyped because Dennis is being loud, and so they could hear their conversation, and they're, Dennis say he's gonna burn the house down. Oh my gosh, oh my god! Then they do their kumbaya. Guys, we have all got to sit together. We gotta have Spacey. We gotta have Vivi's back this week. Girl, where you come from? She happy she didn't hit the block. But they're all cheering, they're excited. Then of course it cuts to Vivic. He's in the HOH room and he's like bawling, he's crying. Avery is hugging him, Spicy is hugging him, reassuring him like, you did good, he wasn't gonna have your back going forward. Like this right here was like the biggest move. They're basically hyping him up, and Vivic is just like bawling, he's crying. So now, was this a good move? I'll look at it like this. I do think your number one person in the house, that was his number one person in the house, right? Was Dennis. Do I think it was a good move he put him up? No. But I'm not gonna say it was a completely dumb move, because you also have to look at it like this. He really only had Dennis to really trust or have his back in the house. And doing this move for the house, because let's be real, it's just for the house. He is gonna gain a few more weeks. And those weeks, it could be 2, it could be 1. But do I think he's gonna skate at least past next week? Yes, for sure. I'd be very surprised if he didn't. So it's a plus for his game. Was it a stupid move? If you were writing it on paper in black and white, yes. But when it comes to the game, he did solidify something. He did his HOH, I guess, essentially is going to be successful because he came into power. He got rid of a big target, and now he's going into next week and he has some allies. It's just so crazy that he put his friend on the block. I was having a conversation with Eric earlier, and I was saying, like, it's so crazy that he would put him on the block. It's like Vivic's DNA is still on the veto necklace. Like, Vivic just put it on you. Like, it's crazy. Let's see. Benjamin says, true, but Vivic's word means nothing to anyone. If I were a house guest, I would never want to save Vivic after seeing what he did to Dennis. I'm with you. I'm with you. Now, if there's a bigger target that happens to come up, sure. But if I'm HOH next week, there is no way I'm not putting Vivic up. I'm sorry. Like, no, at this point, nobody's really aligned to you. So who am I gonna make mad in the house if I put Vivic on the block? Dennis? No, he's gone. So honestly, if I'm any of the other house guests, if I'm Spicy, Anthony, or Kayla, I'm throwing HOH next week. And yeah, because whoever else is up, I would definitely put him up. And honestly, you know who I would really like to see win HOH is Elijah. I feel like Elijah has a little bit of what Dennis has. I feel like he's a little cutthroat and he's tired of being put on the block. And Vivic is going to hit that block. And it would be very interesting. I kind of want to see Vivic be like, these people that have your back or whatever. So I don't know. Yeah, I agree, Benjamin. He is 1000% going to regret that move. Todd, yes, I agree. Todd would be a very interesting HOH. Like, it's just his voice. He's so monotone. But I really, really think that Todd would be interesting. I don't think Todd is easily persuaded as people think he is. And it's more so because he's quiet, but I really feel like Todd is just gonna do what Todd wants to do. So that'll be interesting HOH as well. But yeah. I guess that pretty much wraps up our dailies. You guys can follow us on Twitter at AWhoall there. I did say I was gonna retweet because I can't think of the Twitter, but you'll see it when I retweet it. They did post the clip of Dennis and Vivic right after the nomination ceremony. I can't show it here because they'll block us. But you gotta watch the conversation. They're gonna of course put it on an episode, but if you want to watch it now because you're impatient like I am, you can. But when you guys get a chance, please like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, all that good stuff. Shout out to Ty, our lasting words before I leave. As long as Dougie is say, I don't care who wins HOH. I love her. But that pretty much wraps it for the week. And I guess I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.